Thank you very much, Laurent, for the kind introduction and for the invitation. I have to mention again Kristina Richts. She is at Detmold our further specialist for all projects, and it's that normally she would speak here, not me, but it's not possible at the moment. She has to care her little daughter. The following remarks are based on the work of the digital Carl-Maria-von-Weber complete edition and the so-called Detmold Court Theatre project. It's a short name, the long name is not good to use. These two projects are fundamentally different because the Weber edition is a digital edition of the composer's diaries, letters, writings, etc., while the Hoftheater project is an indexing project. That is, neither text nor music editions in the narrower sense are presented, even if many source material is transcribed in full text. Nevertheless, in both projects, we proceed very similarly with the creation of the data. In order to be able to link the different document types, we create separate types for each person, work, in the case of Weber, including letters, writings, and documents, character names, that means dramatis personae, a special feature of the Court Theatre project, and sources. All these files are encoded in MEI or TEI and looks like this. In the title statement, you can see the French and German titles of the opera, each with subtitles, and then in the responsibility statement, the name of the composer and the librettist. The titles are each assigned to a language, and the functions of the persons are characterized by the role attribute, the value of which is given by mark abbreviations. In the presentation, however, these abbreviations are displayed in a user-friendly way. As you can see, the structure of the file is the same in the Court Theatre project. The title statement contains the title and subtitle, and the responsibility statement contains composer and librettist. Here, too, the languages are noted, and the names, as stated explicitly, are characterized by mark abbreviations. In the display, it looks like this. Please remember here that the graphic representation of this data is independent of the data structure. In both cases, there is also the so-called event list in which the first performance is recorded. And in the Court Theatre project, we take the classification according to the data of the Library of Congress. So these files show quite basic forms of work data. In both projects, a detailed documentation of the work profile is not the main goal and must therefore take place pragmatically, since it is primarily a matter of making mentions of the works in the edited or indexed text findable, as in the past via a register. For this reason, all these files have their own internal IDs. With the help of these identifiers, the individual mentions are linked across document boundaries. For example, by Weber. You see here at Weber the tab Rückverweise, backlinks, and behind it the number 40. If you open this tab, you will be led directly to the referent placed in Weber's diary and his letters, as well as in the recorded reviews and documents, in which the ID of Richard Löwenherz is mentioned. In the Hoftheater project, the references are not general ones, but can be retrieved according to the document groups. If the work appears several times in a document, the individual passages can be triggered directly. By sight, it should be noted that it is only through this marking with IDs that abbreviated or hidden references to the work can be identified in a computer-readable way. In both projects, work data are usually recorded with very few details, because these data are really only about the identification of the work in general, not about the presentation of details. If Faust is mentioned in a text, it must be clarified whether it is by Goethe, by Klingemann, or by Spohr, or if it is the character Faust. But as a rule, not whether, for example, the mention of Spohr's Faust refers to the German or Italian version. By sight, it's a different kind between Faust 1 and 2 by Goethe. According to Ferber, both projects also strictly separate work and source. For this reason, in the court theater project, work files for which performance material has been preserved in the library have the element relation list at the end. Here we refer to only one expression so far, since, naturally, the Detmold Court Theater has only one performance material for each musical play, and we see this as a unit, even if it consists of score, parts, textbooks, and scripts, whereby we also accept that the material contains both printed and manuscript material, since this corresponds to theater practice. If, for example, we were also to make accessible the occasionally available arrangements of the operas for wind ensemble, this would be, of course, a second expression. But we could also include other performance materials, for example, from Dresden, Stuttgart, or Munich, so that one could get an overview of the tradition of German court theaters based on one set of work data. We are currently testing the advantages of such a procedure on comparative materials for Joseph by Meul. Of course, the Weber Complete Edition, as a composer's edition, has special requirements for the work files in future. The digital edition will also include a digital catalogue of the composer's works. Preparatory work for this has already been realized, but the results are not yet publicly visible. You see the Freischütz data, and you see in the Verweise over 900 entities. All manifestations already have their own IDs, and even individual copies are mentioned in the XML data. This is the first you find when you get on the link, and this is the XML data with the special IDs for each item. Until now, my only question was how and for which purpose the work files are used within the respective projects. But a digital edition always has a claim to extend its antenna into the World Wide Web and to network with the information there. The realization of this intention is still under construction in the Hoftheater project. By specifying the RISM ID in the source files, or the Vega ID or the GND in the work and person files, an opening to other information is already given. The Weber edition has already realized a clear step further in this respect. In the case of works for which the GNDs already exist, these will be integrated in addition to the internal ID. The Hoftheater project also does this. And thus, the information content of the work file will be considerably expanded. In the case of the persons, the networking has already, Johannes just said, already been considerably expanded since the use of the GNDs is already standard here. As you can see here, there is a facsimile of a title page in addition to the data. And the overview on the right refers to the Wikipedia article and the GND entry. But most of the additional information is to be found in the tab GND Beacon Links. The Weber-Gesamtausgabe uses the beacon format, which very simply determines and integrates the information from web pages containing information on G&D numbers. Of course, this gain in information is not one-sided. Everyone involved in the creation of beacon files automatically makes his own data available for others too. A little distracting from the topic work to the topic sources, we would like to suggest at this point to build up a beacon format also for RISM IDs, source IDs, in order to reunit the information on individual sources which are created by the activities of libraries and scholars. With the introduction of the work level, as we just heard, this would enable a new quality of research. The openness to make our data available for general use and to network it with other data is a primary interest of our digital editions. We don't want and don't have to create a detailed data set for the Magic Flute or for Fidelio or for the Freischütz, because this happens much more detailed when working out catalogs of works. But we need the data digitally and with authority files in order to be able to create the desired network. How this can also be achieved for lesser known works is something we would like to learn in exchange with you. Thank you for your attention.